go. You know, half the times I record these scenes, I have to do this like 10 times over, just because of my hair alone. I've actually got a couple comments about this, asking me why my bangs go like all the way out to the side, and I genuinely don't know. It just looks like I'm an escaped member of the Leningrad Cowboys. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode of Now Arriving, I got a really special engine that I can't wait to share with you, and that is none other than my Milwaukee Road S3. For those of you who've been watching Sid's Trains, you'll know that this engine's been with him for quite a while now, and he's done a great job restoring it. Now that it's back, I can't wait to share that with you. Check out the live stream if you want to see that in more detail. They're a lot of fun. I know they have some of them have some pretty some nasty reliability issues, but but enough of that though. I'm so excited to finally showcase this engine. It's been gone for a while, and actually it has a very deep meaning to me, and it's actually my first legacy steam engine. So today I thought I'd share my favorite highlights of having this engine and the story of how it got to my layout. So I hope you're as excited as I am. So without further ado, let's start up the engine and get started. All aboard? Let's go back to the fall of 2019 when I was working my previous job as a customer service representative for the Dyson company. You know, Dyson, the company that makes those stupidly expensive vacuum cleaners. Damn, you think model trains are expensive, take a look-see at those $1,000 vacuum cleaners. My job as a customer service representative was basically making sure that people understood how to use the products they bought and to help them when they inevitably broke down.
I don't understand what the problem is. Why won't this stupid thing work?
Being stuck in a state of constant boredom and frustration, I had to find an outlet to keep myself sane at work, and much like other people during their free time, I browsed eBay looking at stuff coming up for model trains. One day an item of particular interest came up, and it was a Lionel Milwaukee Road S3. Now, it was more than just a normal S3. It was a Lionel 1st Gen Legacy S3 that had also been custom weathered by the previous owner. What really got me though was the price. The engine was being sold for just under $900, which completely blew my mind. One, because it was actually under the MSRP that the engine originally sold for, and two, I never saw an engine of this size going for that price. Much like many other people who saw this listing, I put it on my watch list and kicked around the idea for a little bit. Later on during my lunch break, I decided to do a little bit of research on the engine, so I went to watch Eric Siegel's video. Now, those who watch Eric Siegel are familiar that nowadays he's usually more tactful and reserved about his opinion on certain engines. However, the S3 is one of those rare cases where he openly admits that it's one of his favorite engines, and in all honesty, I don't blame him. The engine was basically the Vision Line engine that ever was, and when I say this, I mean, for the time period, cylinder steam was a pretty unique feature, and you didn't see that very often in many engines. Heck, the most recent one we got that out of was the Vision Line GS engines. So, that really stood out to me, and especially for the price. For just under $1,000, that is a awesome engine. So, after second guessing my decision making and having a much lighter wallet, the engine was finally mine. After purchasing the S3, I eagerly awaited its arrival. I don't know about you guys, but I do this thing where I watch tons of reviews and clips of the new item that I bought, just so I know what I'm expecting. It keeps me hyped and excited for when it finally arrives. Unfortunately, when I checked my email, I got a message saying that the item would actually need a signature upon arrival, so in precaution, I took the day off just to make sure I didn't miss it. When the big day finally arrived, I spent the entire day camping out the stairs by the front door, eagerly awaiting for the mail truck to show up. I was really confused when the mail truck finally showed up and dropped off nothing but a couple of envelopes. What the fuck is this? I took out my phone and checked the tracking number and was very pissed off to find out that the USPS had actually taken my S3, brought it to the town next over to me, and then shipped it to Chicago. Oh, for fuck's sake. This meant that I had taken the day off for absolutely no reason, and meant I had to take another day off of work for this freaking thing. Now, for me, the mail truck usually shows up between 10 and 11 in the morning, so with that in mind, I made sure to set up an alarm just a little bit after 11 to make sure that I didn't miss it. My alarm went off and I could hear the mail truck pulling up down the street, so I rushed downstairs and I opened up my front door. Waiting for me was a package, but it wasn't the package I was expecting, and I looked to my utter horror and saw a "sorry missed you" note. Having missed enough days of work as is, I did not want to deal with taking another day off, so I threw on whatever clothes I could find and immediately ran down the street to meet up with the mail truck. Thankfully, I was able to catch the mail truck in time, and after many days of just utter complete fuckery, I got my S3. Now, while I was relieved to get my engine, I was a little bit annoyed that USPS did send my package to the completely wrong town and wasted a day of my time, so I decided to contact the seller and see what they could do about it. They recommended I call USPS, and so after coming off of work one day, I gave them a ring. That was probably one of the most annoying calls I've ever had to deal with. Not because of the person on the phone, or not because of anything like that, just because USPS has the most annoying music possible. Oh yeah, flute music's great for crappy phone speakers. I was on the phone with them for 2 hours, and good lord, I had the biggest headache afterwards. And by the time I finally got to speak with the representative, they said, well, technically, for 2-day shipping, 5 days is acceptable. So I just gave up, got off the phone, and just enjoyed my brand new engine. Now that the engine was finally in my possession, I could finally take a moment to appreciate how awesome it really was. I know you can't really tell looking at it through the camera, but in person, this weathering job is amazing. It's not the best, obviously, however, considering it was my first ever weathered engine, I was completely blown away. This was my first ever scale steam locomotive, and if I put it side by side with the Lion Master Challenger, you can really see how huge this engine is. Now, I do want to say that it wasn't actually my first legacy engine. That honor actually goes to the GP7. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with this engine. The GP7, while aesthetically is one of my favorites because I love the bright orange of the Western Pacific, I'm not the biggest fan of the horn and the sounds. The S3, on the other hand, is a completely different story. I love the sounds in this thing. It's just so loud and powerful, and unfortunately for my father, who was napping at the time, when I first pulled this out of the box, I cranked up the volume. Oh, for God's sake. The cylinder steam is the icing on the cake. It's such a cool feature, and it really adds to the power of the engine. You don't really know how much it adds until you've played with it for yourself. Now, after playing with this engine for a little bit, I did notice the main smokestack didn't work, and to be honest, that didn't bother me at all. The cylinder steam worked perfectly fine, and since that was the feature I was most excited for, I wasn't bothered one bit. Overall, this is such an awesome engine, and is one of my favorites in my collection, and I'm so glad to finally be able to have one of these in my fleet. After owning this engine for a couple months, I ran it all the time because it was my pride and joy. I would even bring it to other people's layouts as well. I brought it to my buddy Sean's layout, and I even brought it to GFW's layout for a short period of time. I was running the engine one day around the layout when, out of nowhere, the sounds completely cut out. Upon further inspection, I realized that one of the wires leading to the wireless drawbar completely severed itself. So I thought it was about time I bring it to my local hobby shop to get it fixed. Heck, my main smoking unit didn't work anyway, so I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I boxed it up and I brought it to my local hobby shop. A couple months later, I get a call while I'm at work, and the other person in line is the in-store technician. He told me that he had some good news and some bad news. Good news is, the drawbar is connected again, and my coupler isn't sagging, plus the main smoking unit works. The bad news is that the engine didn't respond to legacy commands or make any sounds anymore, meaning the engine was more broken than it was when I gave it to them. After asking him what happened, he said that maybe he thinks one of the boards may have fried, so I asked for an estimate of how much it would cost to get it fixed. The estimate he gave me was about $400 to $600 for a maybe fix, not including the money that already had to be paid for the repairs done to the engine. Considering what I paid for this engine in the first place, that would surpass how much the engine was really worth, so I was kinda in a rock and a tough place. Now, thankfully, I had a way out, and that was my buddy Sid. Sid is my go-to technician for all of my repairs and upgrades, and being a long-term customer of Sid's, I've been really happy with all the work he's done for me. I sent Sid a message in Discord, and after a couple minutes of talking, he advised I pay off the repairs and send it off to him immediately, and that's exactly what I did.
What the hell was that? What is this? Oh, it's from Johnny.
Once it arrived at Sid's, he opened it up on call with me, and within literally a couple of minutes after taking the shell off, Sid found out what the problem is and was able to get my engine working again. He even went the extra mile of replacing all the parts that were missing or damaged that I wasn't even aware of and giving it a full, complete restoration. He even got it smoking better than it did when I first got it, which was amazing to me. I never even got to experience the engine with the main smoke unit working, just the cylinder steam. And with that, Sid got my engine working again. Once again, I can't recommend Sid enough. And it was really awesome to see his 261 lashed up with my 265 for an awesome doubleheader. There's a bunch of videos of it running on his channel, so I highly recommend checking it out, and also checking out the live stream as I mentioned before. But after seeing all the hard work Sid put into my engine, I was excited to get it back. A few months went by, and finally, the day arrived. It was time for the S3 to come home.
Well, back to Johnny.
As you can see from the shipper, this box has seen its fair share of miles, so I don't think after this point I'll be sending it out in this box anymore. Now, I'll be completely honest with you guys, I didn't expect to love this engine as much as I did. After getting an FEF, a GS2, and a Challenger, not to mention some other things as well, I thought I'd be more interested and focused on those, but the moment that engine was taken out of the box and placed on the tracks for the first time, and just starting it up again and hearing those sounds, all those memories of running that engine for the first time came flooding back, and I'll admit, this is not an engine I take off the tracks very often. The whistle, the bell, the chuff, the cylinder steam, the stack steam, it just creates a symphony of just pure power and awesomeness. Coupling this engine with the Milwaukee Road caboose I got recently from a previous auction lot, it just makes for an awesome looking freight train. I really gotta give credit to Sid for the work he did on the engine smoke unit. I don't know what he did exactly, but this thing pumps out smoke like crazy. You can smoke yourself out of the room within a couple minutes, but you know what? I don't care, cause for me, it's worth it. And for those who know me for a long time, you know that I'm not usually a smoke guy, so for me to say this really shows how much I appreciate the work Sid put into this. Now, I could go on and on forever about how much I love this engine, how cool it is, or I could just show you. So, without further ado, let's put away the microphone and let this engine speak for itself.
We're at a complete stop. I'll let you know when we're moving. Out. See you next trip. Out.
Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this showcase of this Milwaukee Road S3. Overall, it is an awesome engine and I can't recommend it enough. The weathering on mine makes it one of a kind and makes me love it so much more. I hope to visit the real Milwaukee Road 265 at IRM, the Illinois Rare Museum, this summer, so stay tuned for that. Sid did an awesome job in restoring this engine and it's basically factory new at this point. So if you have any upgrade work or repair work you need to get done on your engines, give Sid an email. I'll link his channel down in the description below. But guys, I hope you enjoyed. I have some new videos on the way, including a review of this Lion Chief 2.0 tank engine. It's an awesome locomotive and I can't wait to share it. As well as that, I've got the Metra F40 and the matching bi-level cars, which I will also showcase in an upcoming video. I hope you enjoyed the new style, and if you enjoyed, well, hit the subscribe button and give it a like. I've also got an Instagram if you want to follow me on that, and that's about it. So until I see you guys next time, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.